This is the guided practice from lesson 11.2. This is page 308. We are on the first problem. Please read along with me. Number 1. A total of 14 guests attended a birthday party. 3 friends stayed after the party to help clean up. How many left when the party ended? A. Let X represent the... Well, let's let it represent the number of guests who left. Let X represent the number of guests who left after the party. So B is going to be the number that left at the end of the party, the number that left after the party. We already decided that that's X, so I'm going to put an X on the line here. So the X is the number of people who left at the end of the party. And then some people stayed to help clean up. And how many is that? That's 3. We know that from the reading. It says 3 friends stayed. And then the last is the total at the party. The total was 14. And so then what we're supposed to do is draw algebra tiles to model the equation. So what I can do here is remember that what needs to happen is on both sides of this mat is what it's called. There needs to be equal. So what I can do is over here I can draw my 14 guests. So I'm going to do 14 this way. Each of these will be a person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So this number right here, 14, needs to match these. And then over here I'm going to draw 3 and put an unknown. And the unknown is just going to be my X. So then some people left. How many people left is these people. I'm going to cross them off with a different color. These people left. And if I cross 3 off from this side, I have to cross 3 off from this side. And so now what I have left here is this. I have X is equal to, and I just have to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. X is equal to 11 friends were left when the party ended. All right, that was kind of a lengthy problem, but good job. We're done with number 1. Let's go ahead and move on. I'm on numbers 2 and 3. The directions read, solve each equation and graph the solution on a number line. So there's 2 things to do. One is, and I don't totally have enough room for this, maybe what I'll do here is make a little, I'll do my whiteboard down below, that's what I'll do. Number 2, the equation is 2 is equal to x minus 3. And then number 3, my equation is s plus 12.5 is equal to 14. All right, so number 2 is a subtraction problem. So I'm going to solve that by adding 3 to both sides of the equation. And then 2 plus 3 is 5. And negative 3 plus 3 cancel, so all that's left is x. The answer is x equals 5. So I'm going to put a dot on 5. It's that simple. I hope that makes sense to you. Number 3, tiny bit more complicated, but not too much. It's an addition problem, so we're going to solve by subtracting. Remember, we always add or subtract the number that goes with the variable. So on the first one, I added 3 because 3 is what goes with x. On the second one, I'm subtracting 12.5 because that goes with s. 12.5 minus 12.5 cancels. That's the whole point. So all that's left is s is equal to. And just remember, if you subtract 12.5 from one side of the equation, you have to subtract it from the other side of the equation. And it's hard to subtract 14 unless I make it a decimal. Now it's easy. 0 minus 5 I borrow, making it 10 minus 5. 10 minus 5 is 5. And 13, or 3 minus 2 is 1. The answer is 1.5. S is equal to 1.5. And if that doesn't make perfect sense to you, you could just check your answer. This equation right here says s, which we think is 1.5, plus 12.5 must be equal to 14. It is, so I just proved it. And where does 1.5 go? It goes exactly between the 1 and the 2, so right smack in the middle there. Cool. Let's move on. Numbers 4, 5, and 6 say solve each equation. Should be able to do all these on the whiteboard. Number 4 is h plus 6.9 is equal to 11.4. Solve that by subtracting. It's an addition problem. We solve by subtracting. We immediately subtract 6.9 from both sides of the equation. 6.9 minus 6.9 is 0. That cancels, so all that's left is this h. Over here, 11.4 minus 6.9, I need to borrow, making this 14. 14 minus 9 is 5. Decimal comes straight down. And 10 minus 6 is 4. The answer is 4.5. If that doesn't seem right to you, we just check it. I think h is equal to 4.5, so I'm going to punch in 4.5 plus 6.9. And I'm hoping for 11.4, and that's what I got, which means I got it right. Number 5. 82 plus p is equal to 122. This is an addition problem, and so I'm going to subtract 82. 82 minus 82 is nothing. All that's left is p. That's what I want. I just have to subtract 82 from here. 2 minus 2 is 0. 12 minus 8 is 4. The answer is 40. P equals 40. I don't mind checking that on a calculator. I think that p is 40, so I'm going to punch in from left to right 82 plus 40. And I'm hoping it's 122. It is? All right, perfect. We are on number 6. N plus 1/2 equals 7/4. This is an addition problem, so I'm going to solve by subtracting. 1/2 minus 1/2 is nothing. That's what I want. That means I have n is equal to. Now I need to add 1/2 over here. 7/4. I'm going to rewrite it. Plus 1/2 is, we're not supposed to do that because they have different denominators. So I'm going to multiply this by 2. And I'm going to get 2/4. Now I have the same denominator, which means I can add my numerators. I was supposed to subtract. I'm going to fix that real quick. See, I messed it up here. See how, do you see right here? I'm going to show you where I messed up. Do you see right here where I said I needed to subtract and then I changed it here to add? This is a mistake. I'm trying to get a red pen here. That's a mistake right there. I need to fix it. So I'm going to use my eraser. Wasn't all bad, but right here I needed to subtract 1/2. So I'm going to take this problem right here and I'm going to rewrite it as 7/4 minus 1/2. And I still can't solve that because of my denominator problem, so I'm going to double these and I'm going to get 2/4. And so now I have 7/4 minus 2/4. Since I have the same denominator, I can subtract my numerators. 7 minus 2 is 5 over 4. And that can be written as 5/4 or it can be written as 1 and 1/4. Both answers are acceptable. 5/4 or 1 and 1/4. Sorry about almost messing up, but I did catch it, so I didn't really mess it up. All right, let's move on. We're on numbers 7 and 8. Number 7 reads, write and solve an equation to find the measure of the unknown angle. So we're reviewing here that a straight line angle measures at 180 degrees. And I have two angles here. I have x and I have 45. So the problem is that x plus 45 has a sum of 180. And how do I solve that? I'm going to rewrite it down here. I'm going to solve that by subtracting. Since this is an addition problem, I solve by subtracting 45. 45 minus 45 cancels. All that's left on that side of the equation is x. 180 minus 45 is, need to borrow. 10 minus 5 is 5. 7 minus 4 is 3. And 1 minus nothing is 1. I think the answer is 135. I'm going to put that down and then I'm going to check on my calculator. If it's true, I can just add up 45 plus 135 and it needs to be 180. It is. Perfect. Number 8 says write a real-world problem for the equation x minus 75 equals 200. I kind of like the old spending type of problem. X could be some money. I did this one on the last page. Something like this. X could be some money. 75 could be spent. 200 could be how much you have left. So you could do something to the effect of, you have some money in your savings account. Last week you bought a nice pair of sunglasses. Let's call them Oakleys just for fun. For $75. Now you have $200 left in your account. The question would be, how much money did you have before you bought the Oakleys? I think that Oakley's money, I can't tell if it needs to be, yeah, apostrophe. And so the equation then to solve, you could probably just do it mentally, would have been x minus 75 equals 200. I don't need much space here. It's real simple. It's mental math. The opposite of subtract 75 is add 75. So if you add 275, you get x is equal to 275. That should be real. That should make perfect sense. You used to have $275. You spent 75. Now you have 200. All right, perfect. Let us go ahead and check the bottom question, then we'll be done. How do you solve equations that contain addition and subtraction? We've written this once before. You solve addition equations by subtracting the number that goes with the variable from both sides of the equation. And you solve the subtraction problems by adding. The second part of that sentence is not super complete, but I didn't want you to have to write like too much. So I'll reread the question. How do you solve equations that contain addition or subtraction? You solve addition equations by subtracting the number that goes with the variable from both sides of the equation, and you solve the subtraction problems by adding. Good enough. You are done with page 308. Great job.